In the animal kingdom, gorillas often greet each other with a hug. Certain species of penguins propose to their partner with a pebble. Female lions do all the hunting for their family. Orcas live with their parents their whole lives. While every family is different and every family is unique, the truth is, they're still our fam.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our last week. We're talking about family, right? They're awesome. Let me ask you this. How many of you have a best friend? Somebody who knows all your secrets, somebody you can spend all your free time with, somebody who lets you play all their video games first, or borrow their clothes before they've even worn them, somebody you can call when you're in trouble or feeling down, somebody who sees your family fight, somebody who helps themselves to the food in your house. They just open that fridge right up and get after it. Somebody who's on your family text thread. Friends like that, well, sometimes they feel more like family, don't they? Now, when I was growing up, I had several really close friends. So much so that, like, when it was time to take the SATs or anything like that, like, we would prep, eat at our house. They would just show up and we would cook breakfast for them before we took our SATs and ACTs. And they would come over all the time. And one of them got kicked out one time and came over to our house because I knew it was a safe place. And literally, these guys were some of my best friends. They're still my good friends today. Love them a lot. It's weird because we have much less hair and more kids, and it's just different. But we're still really close. And definitely every one of those guys I would consider my family, right? Because sometimes friends can jump into that role as well. It's family. Now, for the last few weeks, we've been in a series about family called Fam. And each week we spent time talking about different things about our families that impact our lives, for better or for worse. And while family is a really important thing to talk about, I know that for some of you, this whole series may feel a little bit, off. You've been here the last few weeks and all you've thought about is the fact that your family situation is a little bit different. For some of you, this is because you feel like you don't have the kind of family that everybody else has. Maybe you only have one parent in your life. Maybe your dad is a mess and you aren't allowed to see him. Maybe your mom left. Maybe you have no idea where she is. Maybe you're adopted, and even though that's awesome, you feel like it makes your family a little bit different. For others of you, you're struggling with this whole series maybe a little bit because the family that you have isn't the family that you want. You wish your mom didn't work all the time and she spent more time with you. Or you wish that your dad would care a little bit more about what's going on in your life. Maybe you wish your other siblings weren't so mean, right? Big brothers and big sisters. The worst. Just kidding. I was one. Or maybe that you actually had siblings to even begin with. Maybe your family's dealing with secrets that people don't know about. Things like addiction or abuse or cheating or divorce. And when you see families in your neighborhood or go to your friend's house, all you think is, man, I wish my family was more like them. I kind of even wish they were my family. Or maybe you struggle to talk about family because you don't have one. Sure, you came from a family of some kind, but for whatever reason, you're not with them anymore. Maybe your parents passed away when you were young, or maybe they got into trouble and they can't take care of you anymore, or maybe you've never met them at all. You've been in someone else's care for as long as you can remember. And because of any of these reasons, you'll live with an aunt or uncle or grandparent or neighbor or foster parents or friends. And even though you may have adults in your life who care about you, you still struggle because you know they aren't the fam that you came from. They're the family you thought you'd have, the kind everybody else has. The truth is, talking about family can be hard because for many of us, family doesn't look the way we thought it would look. We think other families are so perfect or so much better or have it all together. But for whatever reason, that's not the kind of family that we got. And honestly, that can make us feel completely and totally alone. If you're feeling that way about your family situation right now, let me just stop and encourage you with this. You're not the only one. In fact, that's a feeling a lot of us have about our families. Not just today, but even thousands of years ago. In the Bible, there's actually a story of two guys who were dealing with a complicated family situation that I think can help us here. These two guys were named David and Jonathan, and neither of them had a typical home life. David didn't live with his family. He left them and was called to work for Saul, the king of Israel. He later becomes King David, kills a giant. You know the guy. And who is Saul? He's actually Jonathan's dad. So Jonathan is the prince of Israel. As they lived and worked together, Jonathan and David became close friends. Now, at first, it was no big deal because Saul, Jonathan's dad, loved David. But over time, things changed. As king, Saul wanted to be seen as the greatest, the most powerful, the most beloved leader in all of Israel. But David's popularity started to grow. And to make matters worse, God actually anointed David to be king after Saul, a plan Saul didn't really like. So as a result, Saul actively began to hate David. I mean, really hated him. like wanted to kill him. And to save himself, David had to flee and go into hiding, narrowly avoiding being murdered by Saul several times. Just think about that crazy family concept. One of your best friends, their dad, is trying to kill you because he's jealous. That's a wild situation. Both Jonathan and David were in family situations that they didn't necessarily want or expect. But David lived apart from his family, and Jonathan was dealing with a dad who was actually trying to murder his best friend. That might be enough to leave both guys feeling completely and totally alone. But you know what? Because they had each other, it didn't. Those two guys formed a friendship that was more like a brotherhood. They were the kinds of friends who helped each other out, thick or thin, no matter what, ride or die, and protected each other. The kind of friends who became like family. The Bible describes their friendship like this, found in 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 3. And Jonathan made a solemn pact with David because he loved him as he loved himself. I love the story of Jonathan and David for several reasons, but the main one I think is because of this. Sometimes friends are more like family. Like I said, not all families look the same, and sometimes, like for Jonathan and David, you find yourself in a situation where other people in your life feel more like family than the people who are actually related to you, right? Your friends, their parents, a coach, a teacher, your small group leader, even other members of your small group. Sometimes God puts people in your life to act as family. Maybe you don't realize this, but that's even part of what we do each week here at church. I mean, virtually here at church. We act as a family of God. We support and encourage each other because that's what God calls us to do. He created us to do life with each other, much like a family. Even when he was on earth, Jesus had friends who became like family. His disciples, the men who were his closest friends and followers, became the people he did everything with. They were as close as family, and as believers, they became part of the family of God. And that's the same thing that God offers us. Whether you're checking us out online for the first time ever, or you attend every single week and just can't wait till we can get back to church and play in 9 Square and Gaga Ball and all those fun things. I want you to know that if you're brand new and you've been here since you were in diapers, that you have a family here. We're here for you and we love you. Our hope as a student ministry and as a church is that every student feels known, valued, and loved by God and by us. So maybe your family at home isn't awesome, or maybe your family doesn't look like the way you hoped it would be. Maybe you have no family at all. No matter what your situation is, you have this family, the family of God, to walk with you through this life. Maybe you're sitting here and you're thinking, yes, totally. I know exactly who the people in my life that love and treat me like family. I got them. I know who makes up my fam outside my family. If that's you, great. One of the best things you can do this week is let that person or people know that you appreciate them. Just tell them thanks for being a good friend. Shoot them a text, write them a note, give them a shout out online. Thank them for making you feel like family. And let them know that you'll do the same for them. You want to be their family too. Or maybe you're sitting there thinking, that all sounds great. And I wish that I had those people in my life. But honestly, I don't feel like I know who they are or where I would find them. If that's you, then I'd say this. Bring more people into your circle. Think bigger than just the people you're close to right now. Think about who else is speaking into your life. Someone older than you or close to you who you can trust. Maybe it's a teacher or a coach, a friend's parent, or a small group leader. Maybe there are a few people in your small group who you can lean on and trust to be like your family. Identify at least one person who you know could be like family and include them in parts of your life. Spend time with them, ask them to hang out, open up to them about what's going on in your life. Hint, hint, your small group leader is a great person to invite. I promise you that it's worth it because bringing more people into your life will expand your family. And sometimes friends are more like family. One of the best parts about following Jesus is that we gain a family of God. The church, your small group can become like a second home, a place where you can be safe, be heard, be known, and be loved. That's how God designed it to be. He knew that life wouldn't always be easy, that we would need each other, that we need a fam to help us navigate middle school stuff. Our hope is that you find the Creek and your small group to be that for you. A place where you can belong and be loved. A place where you find your fam. Because sometimes friends are more like family. Speaking of church family, don't forget about small groups tonight. Starting at 6 o'clock over Zoom. Links to your grade and gender specific life group can be found in the description below. Please be ready to have a good conversation there. We hope to see you there. It's going to be fun. Plus, it's just good to check in, pray for each other, and just be kind of a virtual fam during this quarantine time. Hope you guys are having a good Christmas season and staying safe and healthy. And we'll see you in the new year. 2021!